Like every season of House of the Dragon, Season 3 will be introducing many new characters, some fan favourites from the book, others new characters, exclusive to the show, some even being combinations of several book characters into one. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at who these new characters are, their background and lore, and why I'm personally excited to see them come to life on screen. Maybe the most high-profile new character we will be meeting in Season 3 is Prince Daeron Targaryen, Daeron the Daring, the third son of King Viserys and Queen Alicent, whom frankly should have been introduced well before Season 3. After Season 1, many fans believed the character might have been cut, with him not being mentioned until Season 2. Even then, it was a throwaway line. It's a very strange choice by Ryan Condal. In a way, I can kind of understand, given it's not until this point in the war that Daeron starts to take an active role in the story. Even so, it's very odd to be introducing such a big character so late into the show. I can't help but think some of the changes Ryan Condal and the writers' room have made to the narrative from Fire and Blood means the version of Daeron we're going to get on screen is going to be quite different. Like his siblings, Daeron has silver gold hair and violet eyes, traditional for House Targaryen. A handsome boy by most reports, Daeron was the most popular of the three sons of King Viserys and Queen Alicent. He was courteous and clever, and was described as the gentlest of his brothers. Daeron grew up in the shadow of both his elder brothers, and therefore became more accustomed to following orders rather than giving them. But in a way, this may have changed his nature for the better. He was born in 114 AC, so he's still very young at the outbreak of the dance, around the same age as Jacaerys, hoping to prevent the bitterness from taking roots between the children of Alicent and those of Rhaenyra. King Viserys arranged for Daeron and Jace to share the same wet nurse until they were weaned, believing that being milk brothers might foster affection between them. His hopes proved misplaced. Like his elder siblings, Daeron grew to resent Jacaerys and his brothers, Lucerys and Joffrey, though the cousins were often brought together for feasts, lessons and training in arms. Their forced closeness only deepened the rivalries between the two branches of House Targaryen. Daeron resented them just as much as Aegon and Aemond. By the age of 6, Daeron already possessed a dragon of his own, a blue she-dragon, Tessarion, though he had not yet ridden her. In 126 AC, at the age of 12, he was sent to Oldtown to serve as a cupbearer and squire to Lord Ormund Hightower, his mother's cousin, further strengthening ties to House Hightower and giving Oldtown access to a dragon rider. Daeron will likely play a key role in Season 3 as the Hightower army marches across the Reach, King's Landing its goal. Under the command of Ormund Hightower, it's one of the few fresh armies on the field, with a young dragon rider at their back. Like I said, it's not until now that Daeron really comes into the story, so it does make sense to some degree they've waited till Season 3 to introduce him. But for me, it's still very jarring that we've hardly had any mentions of him from Season 1 and 2, especially given how valuable a dragon rider he could have been for the Greens when they desperately needed him. I think with Ormund Hightower, we're going to be getting a lot more that we bargained for if you are a book fan, because it seems they may have merged his role with that of the other Hightower characters, whom have been cut from the show. This issue dates back to Season 1 of House of the Dragon, when Ryan Condal and the writers decided to name the current Lord Hightower the father of Ormund, Hobbit Hightower, with him playing a role in Rhaenyra's wedding feast. The thing is, this Lord Hightower in the book is unnamed, and Hobbit Hightower is a different character altogether, a man of 60 and a cousin of Ormund, and being a key fighter within the Hightower army post the First Battle of Tumbleton. It seems that this version of Hobbit Hightower has not been included in the show. As it stands, there is a lot of speculation, and rightfully so, that Ormund's story and role in the show will be greatly expanded, and his story will be greatly changed after the First Battle of Tumbleton, with him maybe taking on Hobbit's post-Tumbleton role. Now, I'm trying to avoid huge spoilers in this video for anyone who's not actually read the books, but I will say I'm not sure how that's going to be mechanically possible given the events that create Hobbit's story after the battle. They come directly as a result of things that Ormund does at Tumbleton. If you change these things that Ormund does, the butterfly effect is Hobbit's role in the story as it stands becomes pointless. What I mean by that is the Bloody Caltrops can't happen in the same way. So my take here is either Ormund Ormund will take Hobbart's role post-Tumbleton, and the instigation of the Caltrops will be very different, or the Caltrops and thus Hobbart's role will be cut altogether, which in my view would be a shame, as the conspiracy around the Bloody Caltrops is some of the best political intrigue of the Dance of the Dragons. An aspect of the dance the House of the Dragon has done a really poor job at doing justice to thus far. Black Aly is a character I know many were hoping to see last season, and I was worried she was going to be cut altogether, but it seems we will be getting a version of her character in Season 3. I say a version because she will be different from her book counterpart in several key ways. Black Aly, or Aly Blackwood, was the aunt of the Lord of House Blackwood, the young Benjicott. Black Aly played a key role at the Battle of the Burning Mill in the books. She in fact kills Lord Amos Bracken with a wayward arrow through the eye after Amos had slew her brother Lord Samwell. Given how the Burning Mill was handled in the show, it makes sense looking back that Black Aly would not be introduced until now, when she takes a much more active role. Alysanne, better known as Black Aly, was a tall and lean woman with long black curls that fell past her waist when left unbound. She was not considered conventionally beautiful, nor especially soft in her manner, but few who met her ever forgot her. She carried herself with the confidence of a warrior, and was famed for her fearlessness, sharp wit, and bawdy tongue. Men often remarked upon the scent of wood smoke that clung to her, a trait that some found strangely attractive. Black Aly was renowned for her skill as a hunter, horsebreaker, and archer, excelling in the pursuits more often associated with men of war than noble ladies. Rumours also surround her close bond with Lady Sabitha Frey, with some suggesting the two women shared more than a friendship. And herein lies the issue with Black Aly in the show. An issue I'm unsure how they will address, given the relationship with Sabitha Frey is a core part of her character in the book. The character of Sabitha Frey is very different and portrayed much older in the show than in the book. It seems very unlikely the show will introduce this rumoured romance. I suspect they may introduce a show-only original character that could fill the role of Sabitha in the plot. I think how much of a role Black Aly plays in the show really depends on how deep into the Hour of the Wolf and the Regency period House of the Dragon wants to go. If we're going to get a detailed version of the Hour of the Wolf, as I suspect we will, or at least I hope we will, then establishing Black Aly now in Season 3 is a really important thing to do to make that plot work. Roddy the Ruin is also going to be joining the war, leading the Winter Wolves during Season 3. Roddy Dustin is an aged Lord of Barrowton. By the start of the Dance of the Dragons, he was already an old and hoary warrior, known as Roddy the Ruin. Despite his advanced age, he was still considered a savage combatant on the battlefield. Roddy fits really well as the commander of the Winter Wolves, who were mostly made up of aged Northmen, not wishing to burden their families in the coming winter, choosing to go off and perhaps die in battle. They were not exclusively greybeards. There were a handful of third and fourth sons looking for glory and honour, and choosing the Winter Wolves over the Night's Watch. Roddy is a brutal warrior, almost fighting like a berserker, fearless and effective. And the Winter Wolves play a vital role in the conflict in the Riverlands, specifically during the battle by the Lakeshore and the Butcher's Ball, both of which we should be seeing in Season 3. I think there will also be a huge focus during the first Battle of Tumbleton later in the season. However, given how different Tumbleton in the show is looking right now, I'm not sure how the role of the Winter Wolves is going to be affected. But I do suspect Roddy will be one of the key viewpoints from the Black faction during the battle, along with Daemon and the dragonseeds. I do wonder if they will flesh out Black Aly's role a bit here as well, and also perhaps have her at Tumbleton, but I'm not sure that makes complete sense given the timeline. Torrhen Manderly is another one of those characters that I feared would be cut from the show, so I was pleasantly surprised to see him coming in Season 3. Torrhen is the second son of Lord Desmond Manderly. He's described as clever and corpulent. It was said he was hard and gluttonous, but fair. Torrhen was a courtly man, well-spoken, handsomely clad, and well-disciplined. He played a pivotal role in the events at King's Landing during the second half of the dance. I think given the timeline Season 3 is looking to cover, I believe his role this season will be quite minor, more so to set up his character for Season 4. Torrhen plays a key role in the direct aftermath of the first Battle of Tumbleton in regards to the direction of the dragonseeds plot plotline, which in turn sets up a lot of the story arcs for most of the main characters during the final stages of the war. I do wonder, however, how elements of his storyline are going to work with the dragonseed Nettles being replaced by Rhaena in the show. Torrhen also plays a key role in the politics of King's Landing, as Rhaenyra struggles to keep hold of the power she's just gained, as tensions, not just in the Red Keep, but within the city itself, boil over. He and his brother really facilitate the final part of Rhaenyra's story, so Torrhen really has this big role to play in Season 4, hence why introducing him now is so important. He will also be another character to look out for, depending on how deep into the post-dance era House of the Dragon decides to go.